For decades, the ancient board game had stumped the world's finest minds. Tonight, Professor Emerson became its latest victim.
$1 million to anyone who can decipher this game and complete all 7 moves.
I've studied it for 5 years. The game is unsolvable, a hoax.
That board, it's identical to my grandfather's. How is it here?
The tray crashed to the floor, plates shattering. She didn't notice. Her world had narrowed to that single carved piece.
Charlotte, what are you doing? You'll get fired.
She pushed past her manager, stepping into the pool of light around the pedestal.
I can beat this game. Let me try.
A waitress? You claim to understand what has defeated professors and grand masters.
Without another word, Charlotte reached out. The entire ballroom held its breath as her fingers hovered above the first piece. Charlotte's fingers closed around the crescent-shaped piece. She placed it on a symbol no scholar had dared touch. The board answered with a low, resonant hum. A single symbol ignited, pulsing with soft light.
Impossible. She must have cheated. She saw the solution somewhere.
Be careful, young woman. One misplaced move could shatter this artifact beyond repair.
That hum. It's exactly the tune grandfather sang when he taught me the pieces.
Charlotte, please. You are just a waitress. This isn't worth your job.
The waitress stays. Continue, Charlotte. I want to see more.
Rosa's grip loosened. Charlotte didn't look back. The second piece was already calling to her.
I know the next move. Let me finish.
The ballroom leaned in, caught between disbelief and wonder. But the true test was only beginning. She lifted the star-shaped piece and set it into the second slot. The board hummed louder. A hidden drawer slid open from the side, revealing a bundle of ancient scrolls tied with leather.
Those scrolls belong to the museum. I demand you hand them over at once.
The game has chosen its player. She will interpret them before anyone else.
In her memory, she was small again, sitting under the old tree as her grandfather placed the same piece.
The second step unlocks the gate. Little one, remember it always.
The scrolls were covered in a lost script. But Charlotte's lips moved as if she knew every word.
The gatekeeper's blood opens the hidden valley. The guardian shall walk the path of ancestors.
A murmur rippled through the ballroom. She was reading a language no scholar could translate. The Sheikh leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. This was no trick, it was revelation. The Sheikh called for a brief recess and led her through a side door into his private study. Inside, walls of dark wood held portraits of stern ancestors. The air smelled of old leather and secrets. From a locked drawer, he withdrew a yellow document, its edges crumbling with age.
This game was given to my grandfather 70 years ago by a man from a forgotten mountain village.
Who was this man? What was his name?
The Sheikh turned the document. The signature at the bottom made Charlotte's hand fly to her chest.
Rafael Oliva. He was my grandfather, the last keeper of the game.
Then you know the price this game demands. Once you finish, something precious will be taken from you forever. I am offering you a chance to walk away now. No shame, no penalty.
I didn't cross oceans and leave everyone I loved, just to walk away when the truth is so close.
They returned to the ballroom, the crowd parting like water. Charlotte's hand was steady as she reached for the third piece. It was a sun disk, carved from a stone that seemed to drink the light. The board shuddered violently. A deep crack echoed through the hall. Then an ancient piece crumbled into dust, scattering across the surface.
She's destroying it. Stop her.
The game judges its player. If unworthy, it will self-destruct.
No, this isn't destruction. It's the board testing whether I am the true heir.
A digital timer appeared, glowing red on the board's surface. 10 minutes to make the next move.
I am not stopping. This is why I was brought here.
Her hand trembled visibly, but she placed her palm flat on the board, as if calming a frightened animal. The board's angry hum softened into a low purr. The timer kept counting down. Charlotte lifted the fourth piece, a tiny carved mountain. and set it into the slot. The board projected a shimmering holographic map, a village nestled in the peaks, dusted with clouds.
That's my grandfather's home. I've seen these paths in his drawings.
Only the true heir can follow the map.
In her mind, her grandfather sat under the tree, his weathered face gentle.
One day, you'll have to go back to where it all began.
The ballroom erupted in frantic whispers. Emerson lunged toward the pedestal.
This map is of unprecedented archaeological value. It belongs in a museum, not in the hands of a waitress.
The Sheikh raised his hand, the hologram flickering. The game has chosen her, not you. Charlotte's eyes stayed on the tiny projection of her grandfather's house. The fourth move was complete. Charlotte's hand closed around the fifth piece, a smooth black stone that drank the light. The board's symbols shifted like liquid, reforming into glowing script that carved itself into the air. A riddle.
I am more precious than gold, yet cannot be held. Lose me, and you lose yourself.
In the firelight of a distant memory, her grandfather had asked her the very same words, his voice gentle.
What is more precious than gold, yet cannot be held?
Memory.
The board chimed, and the riddle's harsh glare softened to a warm, accepting gold.
You can't take this from me. It's mine. I'll have you all arrested.
2 security guards seized his arms, dragging him backward as he shouted about police and lawsuits. The Sheikh's eyes stayed on Charlotte, unreadable. The 5th gate had been passed, but the hardest trials still lay ahead. 6 symbols now glowed on the board, their ancient light casting long shadows. Only 1 slot remained empty.
The 7th piece seals the covenant. It requires a sacrifice from the heart.
A sacrifice, not of skill, but of something far deeper.
You will know what to give when the moment comes.
Her hand rose unconsciously to the pendant, the piece her grandfather had pressed into her palm on his last day.
Understand, child. The game does not ask for gold. It asks for a piece of your soul.
Then I'll give it, whatever the cost.
The air thickened with unspoken fears. The 6th move would prepare the board, but the 7th would demand the price. Charlotte's fingers brushed the black stone piece. The board hummed, waiting for her to continue. She would not turn back now. The pendant felt heavier than ever. Charlotte picked up the 6th piece, a carved feather light as ash. It felt like holding a promise. She set it into the slot, and the board gasped. A spectral form rose from its center.
I knew you would find the way. But to complete the bond, you must give what you hold dearest.
The pendant blazed, pulsing against her skin like a second heart.
This holds his memories. If I give it up, I might lose them.
Her throat closed. The thought of forgetting his voice, his face.
Only through sacrifice can the village live again.
The 6th piece locked into place with a soft click, aligning the board for the final offering. The board went silent, waiting. The pendant continued to pulse, a countdown to a farewell.
I have to finish this, even if it costs me his memory.
She stood frozen before the board, her hand hovering over the glowing pendant as the entire ballroom held its breath. In a candlelit room decades ago, her grandfather lay on a thin bed, his voice a fading whisper.
Promise me, Charlotte. Protect the game. It holds our people's soul.
Her younger self had nodded, tears falling onto his folded hands, sealing a vow she was only beginning to understand. Now, in the crowded hall, her voice shattered the silence.
I can't forget you. I can't lose those memories. They're all I have left of him.
The projection of her grandfather shimmered, fading slowly, his eyes still on her with infinite tenderness. The empty slot on the board pulsed with golden light. Above it, the words reformed, 7 moves to ultimate truth. The crowd stirred, confused murmurs rising. Charlotte's hand still hadn't moved. She was no closer to a decision. Before Charlotte could move, Rosa's hands were on her shoulders, pulling her back from the brink.
You are losing yourself in that game. It's taking something. Can't you feel it?
Charlotte looked at Rosa as if waking from a trance, the board's glow still burning in her pupils.
We will reconvene tomorrow. The guardian needs rest, not pressure.
Outside, the roar of reporters crashed through the doors, but Rosa pulled her toward a service exit. Somehow, she was in her apartment, the familiar scent of coffee and old wood doing little to ground her. She rummaged through a drawer and pulled out a folded sheet of paper, her grandfather's handwriting spilling across it. "My dear Charlotte, courage is not found in victory, but in sacrifice." She read it again and again, the pendant pulsing in sync with her heartbeat. When sleep finally came, it brought no answers, only his voice echoing down the years. In her dream, she walked the dusty path of her grandfather's village, every adobe house now hollow and silent. The well was dry, but a child's laughter echoed from a crumbled wall. Then only dust. Then his voice came, not from the air, but from the ground beneath her feet, ancient and kind.
If you do not complete the rite, the village's memory dies forever. But if you do, you will carry its legacy, not its loss.
The words settled into her, like a key turning. Sacrifice was not erasure, it was transformation.
I won't forget him. I'll become his living memory.
She woke with a gasp. Sunrise bleeding through the thin curtains. The pendant still glowed faintly.
It's not a goodbye, it's a promise.
She dressed without hesitation. Today, she would give what was asked, and lose nothing. The Sheikh met her at the ballroom's edge, a sealed envelope in his steady hand.
$500,000, Charlotte. Walk away now, and you never lose a single memory. My family wronged your village. I want to make amends without destroying you.
She held the check, and the paper trembled in her fingers. $500,000. Freedom. Fear. Fear.
I could pay off every debt. I could buy safety. But safety isn't what I came for.
Her grip tightened, and she thrust the envelope back toward him, her voice quiet but absolute.
My grandfather didn't give me this pendant to sell it. It holds his soul. And his soul isn't for sale.
The Sheikh lowered his hand slowly, a strange respect flickering in his eyes. When she turned toward the ballroom, there was no tremor left in her step, only the chosen path. The ballroom doors banged open. Emerson strode in, a folded paper raised like a weapon, police behind him.
This game is now state property. I have a court order. Step away, all of you.
This is a spiritual trial, not a museum piece. You cannot interrupt a sacred rite.
Please. I am one move away from finishing. Give me a few minutes. I am begging you.
The lead officer looked at the board, still humming with ancient light, and then at the desperate young woman. He nodded slowly. 10 minutes. If it's not over, we take the board and her into custody. The timer on the board reset itself to 10 minutes, red digits pulsing, as if listening to the order.
No more time to be afraid. This ends now.
She moved to the pedestal, the ballroom now half crowd, half courtroom. Her fingers found the pendant, the final sacrifice as the countdown began. With trembling fingers, she lifted the chain from her neck. The pendant pulsed against her palm like a second heart. She laid it onto the altar, and the board ignited, a sheet of white fire roaring upward. The world vanished. A vortex of light cocooned her, dragging her through a kaleidoscope of memory. She saw her grandfather through the decades, a young man, carving the game, laughing. The village before the war, children running, the smell of blossoms on the wind, her own childhood, his hands guiding hers, the sorrow in his eyes when he said goodbye.
I won't let go. This is the promise.
The pendant unspooled into golden threads, sinking into the board like water into sand. The vortex collapsed. Silence crashed down. Her hand rested on empty wood. She opened her eyes. The board was alive, the final slot pulsing. The timer read 7 minutes. She blinked, and tears traced down her cheeks. The memories of her grandfather were still there, vivid as sunrise.
I remember everything. The sacrifice wasn't letting go. It was making him a part of everything.
The pendant is now the heart of the board, child. You have not lost him. You have freed him.
From a hidden slot beside the altar, A drawer slid open. One piece rose into the light, a star-shaped token glimmering like captured starlight. She knew those grooves. Her grandfather's knife had worked the wood beside her on endless red dust afternoons.
His last piece, the seventh move, the one he never finished showing me.
Her hand moved before she could think. The board's pulse quickened. 4 minutes left on the timer.
You have more than earned the right, guardian of the lost village. Make your move.
In the crowd, Emerson stood rooted. The police exchanged glances but did not advance. The board demanded this. The star piece hummed against her palm. She knew exactly where it belonged. The final step. She lowered the star piece into the final slot. The room held its breath, a single heartbeat of absolute silence. Then the board erupted. A fountain of golden light consuming the timer and the shadows. The holographic map expanded across the ceiling. The ruined village shimmered, then rebuilt itself in verdant detail.
You have unlocked the legacy, my child. This game is no longer a mystery. It is a key. Protect it.
His voice wrapped around her, gentle and strong, as if he stood beside her once more.
I'll protect it, Abuelo, with everything I have.
The board's pieces all glowed in harmony. The final slot, sealing with a soft, eternal chime.
The waitress has conquered the 7 moves. She is the true guardian.
In the crowd, Rosa wept openly. One hand pressed to her mouth, pride and disbelief warring in her eyes, and in that moment, a waitress from nowhere rewrote a history that had been waiting centuries for her hand.
People of knowledge and faith, behold the true guardian of the game, Charlotte Oliva.
His hand rose, a velvet cushion bearing a golden key that glittered like the desert sun.
This key is not for a vault alone. It is the deed to your grandfather's land. My family kept it from your people. I cannot undo the past, but I can return what was stolen.
You are giving it back. That is more than I ever expected.
The crowd surged forward, cameras flashing. The police uncuffed their hands. The court order absurd in the face of truth. At the back, Emerson's mouth hung open. He turned, his court order fluttering to the floor, and disappeared through the doors.
I have the key. Now, I know what must come next.
She did not raise the key in victory. She pressed it to her heart, where the pendant had always been. A waitress, a guardian. And now, the rightful heir of a village that had waited long enough. The crowd had gone, and she was alone with the ancient board. Her fingers found a hidden drawer beneath the main table. Inside lay a folded paper, yellowed with decades, sealed with wax, the color of dried earth. If you read this, you have succeeded. The game is not just a puzzle, it is our village's heart. Rebuild it.
He left me the plan. He knew I would find it one day.
She looked out the window, past the hotel lights, and saw in her mind children laughing in a village square. The golden key was still warm in her palm. She moved to the board and found a slot it was made to fill. She inserted the key. The board hummed, and a new projection bloomed, a blueprint of a thriving village.
A school, a plaza, homes. He dreamed of this for decades.
The game was no relic. It was an architect's promise, waiting for a builder. She withdrew the key, and the plan faded, but its shape was seared into her memory. The next morning, the hotel ballroom was packed with cameras and microphones, every lens trained on a single figure.
Yesterday, this woman solved the unsolvable. Today, she speaks for herself.
I am going to rebuild my grandfather's village, not as a monument, but as a living place. A school, a cultural center, homes for families who still remember those mountains.
She lifted the game board onto the podium, its surface now serene and bright.
This game will be on display, not as a puzzle, but as a promise, a heritage that belongs to everyone.
In the crowd, Rosa stood with her clipboard clutched to her chest, tears cutting through her smile.
That's my girl. My stubborn, impossible girl.
This is for my grandfather, and for everyone who was told their history didn't matter.
The press conference roared, but Charlotte only looked down at the key, the weight of legacy finally feeling like hope. Weeks later, Charlotte climbed the hillside to the small cemetery overlooking the valley. She knelt at a weathered headstone, her fingers tracing the name, Rafael Oliva. She set a single blossom on the stone, its white petals trembling in the breeze.
I kept my promise, abuelo.
Beside her rested the game box, its ancient wood now warm with the light of a settled artifact. She didn't open it. The game had given all it needed to give. Now it was just a keeper of memories. She could almost hear his laughter, a low rumble under the mountain silence.
You always said I would find the way.
The sun slipped behind the peaks, draping the stones in gold. She stayed there until the first stars appeared, no longer a waitress, but a guardian keeping a promise written in the desert dust. In the valley, where silence once reigned, now rose the sound of hammers and laughter. Children darted past her, chasing a wooden hoop, their bare feet kicking up dust of new beginnings.
This is what he saw every day in his heart. A village that refused to die.
She pushed open the door of the new community center, the scent of fresh pine filling the air. On the main wall hung a single photograph, Rafael Oliva, smiling under his wide-brimmed hat. Beneath it, she placed the game board on a simple wooden stand. It needed no lock or glass. Its ancient wood seemed to breathe, settled at last in the place it was always meant to be.
Some puzzles aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to be remembered.
She turned to the open door, where the village's noise spilled in, not a forgotten place, but a living one. And then she smiled, the quiet strength of a guardian who knew the game was never really about